Can you hear this? It's turned up. Okay, turn on the music. Hi, friends. How are you? Happy Tuesday. I am so excited that last night I got to attend the Harry Styles concert. So I have training for you, but also I popped in at the end, just 3 lessons, kind of 3 takeaways I did from the concert that actually I attended all by myself. I tried to get one of my girlfriends to go, but she wasn't able to go. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And I had a great time. Check my Instagram stories if you want to see some concert clips. But what I'm actually going to share with you today, let me pull up my notes. If you're watching the replay, by the way, do #replay, say, hey, I would love to connect with you. This training is not just going to be about Harry Styles. It is also going to be a sequel to the training I did on healthy numbing out. If you missed that one, make sure you go back and catch it. And I talk about why I feel like self-care really gets overlooked in a lot of ways because we don't make our self-care intense, exciting, stimulating, fun enough. We kind of make our self-care boring. So make sure you check out that one when I talk about healthy numbing out. This one is a sequel, and it really is going to be about having fun during a launch because fortunately I have launched a time or two. I also did a recent training on 16 of my best launch tips. But I want to go more in depth on one of them, and that is really having fun during a launch, which is way harder than it sounds, right? Let me know in the chat box if you have never launched before or if you've launched. And if you've launched anything before, you know that you're probably just nervous laughing when I'm telling you to have fun during a launch, right? Very funny. And I would say I've launched over 25 times. And so I get that launches can be a challenge, but I think this really has been my most successful launch thus far. I just opened the cart and I'm already over 80K in sales, which I'm so thankful. And I really noticed something that I accidentally did during this launch that has worked so good. And so you know that if anything that I'm doing works for me, I'd like to share it with you. And just like to spread the love in that way. But hi, Mina, how are you? Happy Tuesday. Yes, if you are tuning in, please say hey to me. I'd love to hang out. Also, Merry Christmas, because as you notice right here on my right, all my client calls today, they're like, Anna, what is that large thing behind you? So you know how in the olden days we used to play with refrigerator boxes? Well, at Target for $20, you can get a toy Christmas playhouse. So I got that this weekend and my kids have been loving it. They've modified it. You notice how the windows, they had these little cross hatches. They cut those out. Normally there's a mailbox, but they cut a hole in it. It's being modified. So moms, or even not moms, right? If you have a little one in your life, go buy them that $20 playhouse, but also 39 days to Christmas. So Merry Christmas. Okay, let's get rolling. Let me make sure I have my notes pulled up, your little chat box pulled up so I can see if you guys say anything. Now I lost my notes. Okay, so I want to talk about having fun during your launch, what that looks like. And really, even if you're not in the middle of a launch, how to infuse fun into your business. Because I think a lot of times we want our business to work and we're working very hard. And especially if you're not at the 6-figure mark yet, this can be especially imperative, right? Because a lot of what you're doing is on faith and fumes, right? Okay, I'm showing up, I'm doing the work, I'm getting visible, I'm trying to take sales actions, but I'm not really making all of the money I want to yet, right? It can be hard to have fun, right? Because you're just working hard. And then also, even when you're past 6 figures, I think there can get a point where you're so busy with your business, you're busy with your client work, right? You're busy with next level challenges that it can be hard you can kind of start to feel beholden to your business, right? You feel less free, right? You kind of feel a little bit trapped by your business. So I think wherever you're at in your business, this conversation is going to be so imperative. And I hope you're able to take some of it and apply it ASAP. Mina says, I am well. I hope you're too. Thank you, Mina. I'm having such a great week. I really am. Okay. So what I noticed during this launch or during the start of the launch is I accidentally had a lot of fun. So I had scheduled, not really purposefully, something basically every single weekend. So the first week, right before my launch, I had kind of 2 CEO days scheduled where I went away to an Airbnb and worked on a course that I'm releasing next year, worked on some course content for that. The next weekend, my beautiful COO Haley got to come to San Diego and we got to brainstorm in real life. And then the next weekend was Halloween. And so I got to dress up with my daughter as a fairy. I had a lot of fun. That was like the first time I dressed up as an adult for Halloween, maybe ever. And so I really enjoyed that. And then also yesterday I went to the Harry Styles concert. And what I noticed, I think we're hesitant to, like, when we're really in a busy season of business, to schedule fun into our lives. Number one, because of COVID, it makes it a little bit more tricky, right? But I think also it feels like I should be working all the time. And I especially hear this from my clients that like don't have kids, right? And are like, well, Anna, like I feel guilty. What am I supposed to do in my time not working? And I know that it takes effort and energy to not work. It takes effort and energy to make friends, to schedule things, right? But what I found is that what it did is, as I had all these events during my launch, during a busy period, is it actually made me more productive, right? Because I was like, oh, I have this thing coming up. I have Haley visiting, so I got to get my shiz in order to get this done before she comes, right? Oh, I have Halloween coming up. And so I want to like send this message to my current pre-clients before this happens, right? So I find that when we schedule fun into our life, it makes us more productive, right? It like makes us more efficient. And then also we're excited, we're lit up. And so those tasks just become easier, right? When you sit down to write content, when you come to do a reel, right? When you go to like reach out to potential clients, you're feeling excited, you're feeling lit up. And that really translates, I believe. And so what I want to encourage you to do is ask yourself, am I really being serious about putting fun into my life? You know what I mean? I think we were like, I want to have a fun life. I want to have good friendships. I want to be connected. But like, what actions are you actually taking to make that happen? Like, are you scheduling the fun thing to go do? And like I did, are you willing to do it solo? I was like, I don't care if my friends can't make it. I'm going to go to see Harry Styles by myself. You know what I mean? And so I'm going to share some concert lessons in a second too, but I just really would encourage you to ask yourself, something else that I did is this last weekend, I went to an improv class. So some of you guys know, like in my childhood, I did a lot of acting and I haven't done that recently. And so I was like, I think I just want to get back into that action. So whatever is for you, whether you're a runner or a writer, or even like ask yourself, like, what did I do as a child that really fueled me? Or what's something that I've done in a certain season that I really enjoyed? And how can you infuse some of that in some sort of way, and really being clever and creative there, right? This is similar to what I talk about in Visible Impact. I have a module called Live Your Best Life Now. And it's basically my theory that visibility becomes a lot easier when you're just authentically having fun, right? Like, yes, half of visibility is that authority piece and teaching, but another half is that authenticity. And so this is really where it's important. My coach Lacey says, like, to be your own best case study. And what this means is like, what is it that you teach and preach in your business? And not that you have to be perfect at it, but are you practicing it? And are you doing it, right? Like if you're a health coach, what do you teach your clients around health? And are you doing it too? So you can model that, right? If you're a life coach and you teach a gratitude practice, can you do the gratitude practice and share that with your audience as an example, right? I think like as we're able to model, not that we like owe that to our audience, but I do think that it makes visibility way, way, way easier. Okay. Okay, that's mainly what I want to tell you about that part. So your homework, and then I'm going to share the concert lessons, is, you know, I think it can be easy when we're in a launch or when we're in a push season of our business to feel like I need to work harder. I need to do more to get more results. But a lot of times that's not the case, right? Yes, you need to get clear on what your plan of action is, but once you've done it, right? Once you've like written the sales email, once you have gone on live, right? Once you have done your social media, right? Once you've done all your actions, it's best to get unplugged. You guys know I'm a big fan of that, right? And so asking yourself, what can I schedule? This is the homework. You ready? Write it down if you're with me. What can I schedule in my life this month that would be fun? And again, make sure that it's not like something that you're going to dread or is going to feel like a chore, like something that you would actually look forward to, something that's going to bring you life, right? These can be business things. These can be fun personal things, right? Like the 4 examples that I gave you. And so really asking yourself, I guess I gave you 5 examples because I said I went to that improv class this weekend, right? Like, is it a dance class? Like, I think classes are a great way to get into that practice without feeling like it has to be forever. And so don't ask yourself, like, what am I committing myself to forever? But just this month, what's one thing I can do that sounds fun? And I'm an extrovert. So these are kind of like extrovert examples, but maybe for you, those sound awful and you would rather it be something different, right? But just really asking yourself, what can I do to have more fun in my business, to do something that fuels me personally, knowing that that will fuel your business too, right? Okay. I can't wait to hear what comes up for you. Share it with me. I would like to hear what it is and actually put it on the calendar. Okay. Here's 3 things I learned just in general from the concert, right? I shared this one already a little bit, but it's powerful to do things solo, right? I went to this concert solo, and I think in business, a big thing I see for women is not taking ownership of their dreams or their desires, right? Or like feeling like, oh, I'll do this if I can have someone do it with me, or I can do this if I can have someone validate that it's okay to have this desire, right? Instead of like, I have this dream, I have this desire. Yes, I'm going to get coaching support. Yes, it's less lonely when there's peers around me. But at the end of the day, it's you doing what you know you're called to do and showing up for it and being able to stand in radical ownership of that. I think actually why I've been able to build so many biz besties and why I have such a great supportive coach is because I've been willing to rapidly move forward, and I've kind of like invited them along for the journey, which I think sometimes we get a little disempowered and we like look for other people to like give us permission or invite us to the party, right? Or to include us instead of saying, no, I'm enough right now. I'm going to throw my own damn party and I'm going to invite other people along. And let me tell you, as a coach, I love when my clients like chart ruthlessly forward. And then I can always be like, wait, hold on a second, or wait, try this, or, oh, that may not work so well. Right. I love when they have momentum and they're able to have that vision, have that ownership, charge forward, and ask yourself, like, again, not that I believe in the power of coaching, but I just feel called to remind you of this, right? That at the end of the day, it's you and whatever it is for you. For me, it's God. For me, at the end of the day, it's me and God. Maybe it's for you, it's you and the universe, right? But at the end of the day, I know it's like me and God, and I'm moving ruthlessly forward on like my calling, my desires, my life. Is it less lonely when other people come alongside and journey with me? Yes. Do I love having a coach, and will I forever have a one-on-one coach? Yes, always. Right. But I think it's really asking yourself, am I coming forward with that energy of like me and God? It's me and God. I know my calling. I know my purpose. I'm moving ruthlessly forward, and I'm just like trusting that journey to unfold. Right. So that power of coming back to that self-trust, right? A good affirmation around this too is like, I can trust myself. Right. Number 2 is kindness goes a long way. Hi, Joanna. How are you? Happy Tuesday, my love. I'm doing my biggest takeaways from the Harry Styles concert I went to last night. FYI. Kindness goes a long way. Obviously, like I don't know Harry personally, but I just noticed like so much kindness in him, like really giving like credit to his band members, like really thanking the audience. And I think in business, we forget that our kindness is something unique about us. Our heart, we think is like a liability, like, oh, my heart maybe like not hold that boundary, or my heart made me over deliver. But I really want to remind you that your heart, your generosity, your willingness to show up and serve and really care about your clients' results is unique about you. Okay. Say that in the comments. My kindness is my gift. My heart is my superpower. Right. And I think sometimes we're like, we get mad at our sensitivity. We get mad at our kindness. We get mad at our soft spot instead of really, really realizing like, no, that is what makes me brilliant and beautiful. And that's what's going to make me $1 million business owner, right? That is truly what I believe. I believed I have gotten my business to this point to multiple 6 figures by my heart, by showing up, by being in integrity, by serving my clients, by wanting to make money, but by also really caring about my clients. Because that's good business. It feels good to me. It's easy for me to keep showing up. My clients spread the word and refer me to other people. Right. And I believe that same strategy 100% is going to take me to the $1 million mark. Like I just know it. Right. And so I encourage you to really make that right about you and even own that, right? My kindness, my heart with boundaries with boundaries is going to take me to the $1 million mark. Or maybe for you, if you haven't hit 6 figures yet, you can say, my heart is what's going to take me to the 6-figure mark, and really trusting that, right? Okay. Third lesson is things don't have to be fancy to be a good experience. So the concert last night, it really was not fancy. I mean, I don't know, because I haven't been to a lot of concerts. The last concert I went to was Switchfoot. The one before that was Carmen. Do you guys know who Carmen is? My dad knew Carmen. He's a Christian singer. When I was 10, I went to the Carmen concert, actually in the same San Diego arena. So I haven't been to very many concerts, but what I see them on TV, they're very fancy, right? There's a lot of like hoopla and like people swinging from things, like lots of excitement. But the concert last night was like very simple, right? But it was just so powerful. And I think it's this reminder that in business, sometimes we feel the need to overcomplicate, right? Or we feel like we have to like do a song and a dance, or there's something about us that's like not good enough as is, right? And I just want you to remember, like, you are good enough. You are worthy of premium prices. You are worthy of selling out. You are worthy of making money right now, as you are who you are in your business. Because of point number 2, right? Remember, kindness and heart goes a long way, and kindness is what's going to take you to the $1 million mark, right? And so remembering that is your superpower. You don't have to be fancy to give your clients a good experience. And I really learned that in the concert last night, right? I had an amazing experience, but it really was not fancy. Like, it was almost like it was non-fancy, right? It was just like Harry, like singing around on the stage. And I think it's just remembering that you are enough. What you bring to the table is enough. And you can give your clients a great premium experience without having to do a song and a dance, right? Without having to like overdo it. You are enough exactly as you are in the season, no matter what that looks like, right? And realizing you're going to have different capacities in different seasons of your life. Make sure you guys check out this week's episode with the beautiful Vasti. Is such a good one. It really is a good one. And Vasti is just a brilliant woman in general, but she just really speaks from her heart on giving yourself grace, right? Showing up for your present season. And it just really resonated with me too, because I remember after I had my daughter, my capacity was limited, right? Instead of taking video calls, I just took phone calls. I didn't do Zoom calls, right? But I think why I think my business has been able to grow so steadily over the past 5 years is I've really kept it really simple. Right? I've really kept it simple. I haven't added a lot of complexity. And when I have added, I've added in an intentional way, right? I don't have like 17 courses, right? I have one course that leads to one mastermind, right? And so it's just like, I think so often we feel like we have to add complexity to make our people love us, to be qualified. But I just want to speak to you guys, especially if this is hitting you right now. Oh, hi, my loves. Hi, Vasti. Speaking of, hi, Joanna. Hi, Kiki. How are you? Happy Tuesday. You know, I think we can like hit imposter syndrome at every level, right? At the start of our business, but even after we've crossed 6 figures, I think it can come, right? Especially if we've like had some momentum and we have a little lull, right? Or we have some momentum, but we like doubt what that next season will be. And I just want to encourage you that the way that you're going to scale your business past 6 figures, right? Really to the $1 million mark is going to be through simplicity, right? And keeping it simple. And how do we do that? Why do we overcomplicate? We overcomplicate because of our mindset issues, right? Because we have money mindset blocks that tell us that money needs to be hard, money needs to be complex. And like, don't hear me wrong, you have to work hard in your business, right? You have to do work. You have to take brave action. You have to be uncomfortable. I cry in my business, and not in a good way, like at least once a month because it's challenging. But let's be real. Even before I had a business, when I worked in corporate, right? And I was working in really challenging situations, I cried too. So it's like, take your poison. So I think we confuse like I also don't believe the thing of like all business needs to be easy. No, owning a business is the hardest damn thing you could do in your life. I always say it's like the course in personal development that no one told me I was signing up for. That I got my master's degree, I thought I was done. Check mark. No. It's kind of like motherhood, right? You feel like you're so enlightened, and then you have a child that like triggers the heck out of you, and you're just like, you realize you have like a lot of baggage that you need to deal with, right? Anyway, where am I even going with this? Oh my gosh, someone reel me in. Point being, I don't even know. There was a point in there somewhere. How are you doing, Kiki? Yes, you are worthy of being, the imposter syndrome, right? So I think we have so many stories around money, right? That money has to be hard to make. Okay, this is where I was going. There's one thing to be willing to take brave action, right? To be willing to like step outside of our comfort zone, to be able to do the things we're afraid of, right? And there's another thing about hustling or forcing or working more hours than we want to be working, right? And so I think it's being willing to say like, I am enough. I am enough. And I also notice this for my clients that have made six figures and are working to push past that, right? Is the feeling of like, oh, now I've got to complicate it. Now I've got to make it more complex, right? Now I've had a 30K launch. Oh, to have a 100K launch. Now I've got to make things really exciting and different. And almost always the mindset work is that we can keep it simple even as we grow in scale. In fact, to grow in scale, usually you have to simplify. Let me say it again. To grow in scale, we think we need to make it more complex. We need a new strategy. We need something new, shiny, and sexy, right? But almost always it's about simplifying, niching your target audience, simplifying your offerings, simplifying your freebies, simplifying your visibility strategy, right? Because it's like taking all of that energy instead of spreading it out, putting it all together and making it more narrow, making it more focused, making it more razor sharp, right? Over the past 5 years in my business, I have less programs now. Is that true? Maybe than I had at the start, or I've certainly like narrowed and organized them, right? As you figure out which programs are making me the most money, which visibility strategies are working the best, which sales strategies are working best. And you've noticed this in my business, how I love challenges, right? I have nothing against other sales mechanisms. It's just the one that works for me. And so I'm sticking with the thing that works for me, right? Okay. Vasti says functional over fancy. Yes. And I think too, one of the modules in Sell with Heart, I think last week that we did was like owning being a premium product. And I think it's remembering what's the distinction between showing up for our clients and giving them a premium product, right? How can we show up and deliver and over deliver and care without making it complicated or fancy, right? Okay, so good. Vasti says the simple you bring in your programs is such a gem to walk away with. So glad. So true. Running a business is for the crazy ones. It really, like Joanna, what were we thinking? What were we thinking? What were we thinking? Why did we start businesses? I told you, you guys know this before, right? But I told my ex-husband, at the time, my husband, that owning it, this was like before I owned a business, right? I said, owning a business is the stupidest thing you could ever do with your life. I mean, I'm just so kind because I just had grown up in this mentality of like, you work hard, you get a job with health insurance, and that's that. Right. And I really didn't have anyone in my family that owned a business. And so I'm just like, that just seems crazy. And now that I own a business, I will say that it's crazy, but also I could never go back. I could never go back. I'm just so grateful, right, for that flexibility and that freedom. Okay, Joanna says, with all the process I've created, the more I hit six figures, I go back and see how to simplify it. Yes, exactly. Right? What did I do? How did it work? And how do I repeat it? Right? What worked about that? Every single launch, after I finish a launch, I always suggest I have about 4, I can post them in the chat here. I have about 4 questions that I fill out after every single launch and that my team fills out too. It's basically like what went well this launch, what didn't go good this launch, right? Really evaluating and reflecting. And so that when we rinse and repeat, it can go better and better. And I think there was like a huge, if I would say one of the most pivotal points in my business was when I stopped creating new at the start of your business. Really for the first like 30K in cash, you're like creating new programs, new visibility, new content, right? But there becomes a very distinct point in my business when I was like, oh, now I need to, that course I created, I need to repeat that course. Meaning I need to take that existing course and instead of creating another course, because I did that like 3 times, I created a new course. And then I was like, oh, I just need to take the course that I already created and run more people through it. Right? Oh, I just need to take that marketing content, that challenge I already created and run more people through it. And the reason that we don't do this, number 1, is because I don't think it gets talked about enough, right? Number 2, we have a fear of like repeating things. But number 3, I think we think, oh, well, that would be too easy. Or for me, I was like, that sounds boring. Ew. right? Why would I want to do something new? And I really got a lot of excitement and adrenaline out of creating new things in my business. But instead I really had to change and get more excited about making money. Okay, hear this for a second, right? So I would say like year 2 in my business had become a little bit more boring because I wasn't creating as much new things. I wasn't creating content live in the moment, right? But my business definitely got more profitable and making money is fun. Okay. And now I'm to the point where I'm like, I really probably for 2 years took a pause on creating a lot of new things so that my team could stop for a second to repeat and refine, to take all of the content I'd already created and make it better, to take the course I already had and put it into a course membership, right? And so I think it's like remembering that trade-off. And so now that my business is really systematized, right? My main program, my main mentorship, Sell with Heart, is automated with the emails and everything. My main course, Visible Impact, is automated. Now that those are set, now that those are taken care of, I have the energy and I'm releasing a new course in March, right? But I think we don't stop to remind ourselves that like I had to start getting giddy and excited about repeating, refining, systematizing, and creating in advance. And if you're like me, I would have been like, ew, that sounds so boring, right? Because again, at the start of our business, we really live by the seat of our pants. We really live off that adrenaline. And I think as entrepreneurs, usually we're visionaries. We like to create. That gives us like, that fuels us. And there's nothing wrong with it. But I just want to say, if you want to like get to the next mark in your business financially and break through your income ceiling, you have to shift to start getting excited about repeating, refining, creating in advance. Someone just say that in the comments, right? And again, if that doesn't feel exciting to you, really remind yourself it may be a little bit less exciting in the short term, but in the long run, it's going to be very exciting because you're going to be making way more money with way less stress, and your team is going to love you too. Okay. And so telling yourself, oh, this is a new skill set. I'm not mad at the version of myself that like showed up and wrote content in the moment and flew by the seat of my pants. I'm thankful for her, right? Because that lack of overthinking is what got me started. And some people don't get off the ground because they are overthinking, right? But it's remember you need to shift and tap into a new part of you for that next level of business, which is the repeating, the refining, the working in advance. I did a live on this one time. So there's a 4th thing that I can't remember, right? But it's really tapping into that. And it's going to feel weird at first, right? It's going to feel a little bit less instantly gratifying, but remember in the long term, it's going to be very gratifying, right? When you're repeating, you're refining, you're working in advance, and you deserve that. It's kind of like the second level of business because you've done that first chapter. Let me know in the chat box if you know you're in a season where you're like, oh yeah, I already created a freebie. I just don't talk about the freebie, so no one downloads the freebie. So maybe instead of having on my to-do list that I need to create a new freebie, maybe I just need to write some new promo content and promote the freebie I already had, right? Maybe instead of creating a new course, maybe you need to polish the course that's already created, right? Is it time to repeat, refine, create in advance? Let me know. And it's time to let things be a little boring. And I think too, in our business, I did a podcast a long time ago with my, one of my coaches, Maggie Reyes, such a sweetheart. And she talks about this in the context of relationships, that a lot of times, you know, we are in relationships that are rocky. And so we equate like love to being like excitement and adrenaline, right? When really at the end of the day, we can also find love that's peaceful, that's drama-free, that's calming. And so I think we just need to be so careful that we're not getting addicted to our business being hustly. We need to be willing to show up for our business in a hustle way in certain seasons, right? But also we need to be willing to say, like, in the day-to-day, you want to be in a long-term committed partnership with your business. You don't want to break up with your business, right? And so in order that to happen, you really need to get into that it's safe for my business to be peaceful. It's safe for my business to not feel like an emergency. It's safe for my business to be drama-free. And it might feel a little bit foreign. Again, kind of like the same thing. This is like comparison to relationships. At the start of a new relationship, it feels like puppy love, adrenaline, right? Start of a new business, it feels like adrenaline, like new ideas, new inspiration, right? But you have to graduate to the next level of business. And some of you haven't graduated yet, right? You have to tell yourself it's time to move to a more having a DTR. You guys do that, right? You have to move to the next level of business where it's going to be it's a trade-off. It's going to be a little less exciting, but it's also going to be more stable. It's going to be like that pure long-term love. And you are worthy of pure, peaceful, stable, long-term love in your business. You are worthy of it being safe, it being supported. Don't confuse chaos for love, right? People are like, where did you go with this? Where did you go with this? I got to go in a second. I got a client call. But I really want to encourage you, right? Where are we addicted to our business feeling hustly? And can we trust that our business can be this really mature, stable, safe, committed partnership? And this sounds a little crazy, but I'm just going to tell you it's true, right? I really see my business in some ways as a partner to me. Sounds a little weird, right? But I really see it as something that's super stable, something that supports me financially, is very fulfilling for me emotionally. And I think I would really challenge you to look at what relationship you have with your business. Is it a volatile one? Is it an inconsistent one, right? Is it one that you can rely on? And I want to invite you to the possibility that you can trust, you can rely on your business, you can find stable, secure love in your business, and it does not have to be a volatile relationship, right? And it may just be something you work to over time, right? Or something you affirm in yourself. Like, it's safe for me to have more X in my business. Let me know what it is in the chat box. Maybe it is more like financial stability, right? Maybe it is less volatility, but really challenging yourself to look at, how can I improve that relationship there? Okay. Who knows where I was at in my notes? Okay, back to things don't have to be fancy to have a good experience. Okay, anyway, that's all. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was from today's training. I would love to hear it. Maybe it was something I said, but maybe it was just something else that popped up for you, like a little aha or a little gem, something that came up for you. I would love to hear what it is that you're taking away from the training today. I'm just so thankful for you guys. I just love you so much. Okay, I have 5 more minutes, so feel free to let me know if you have any questions around how to have more fun in your business and how that actually fuels it, and or kind of the tangent I went on around having stability really, and working into that next level of working in advance, right? Really moving into that calm, centered, grounded CEO place. And this is important too, as you build your team, because that's the environment you're creating for your team. And I want you to ask yourself, and right now, even if you don't have a team, you're a team of one. You're the CEO and you're the employee. And some of you guys need to treat your employee better, right? Some of us as a CEO and the employee, we expect things out of us as the employee that we would never expect out of another person, right? So I want you to ask yourself, are you being kind to yourself, right? Are you expecting impossible things, right? Okay, so good. Accepting boring. Yes. And boring is, I'm trying to remember what Maggie called it, but it's not really even boring, right? It's just like stable. It's safe to be stable. It's safe to have this like super profitable, non-stressful business. Can you guys affirm that for me in the chat box, right? For you. It's safe for me to have a super profitable, either if you haven't hit 6 figures yet, you can say it's safe for me to have a 6-figure business and have it be non-stressful, right? If you already hit 6 figures, you can say it's safe for me to have $1 million business without being stressed out of my mind, right? And I think sometimes the reason we sabotage ourselves from signing clients or making money is because we assume that when we do that, it's going to be overwhelming or stressful or bad, right? But trusting that, no, I can hit that. And also I can really create this business environment that I like to work in. And when you have a team that they like to work in, and that feels really supportive to them too. Okay. Boring is where the magic happens. Do they say that, Kiki? I think that is so true, right? And at first it felt boring to me, right? To repeat my content. I was like, oh, there goes out a social post that I already wrote. Womp womp. But you know what felt really exciting when it got a ton of comments. And I'm like, you know what? I don't even think that social media post got that many comments the first time it went out, right? It starts feeling exciting when we see the payoff, when we see the long term, and we need to train ourselves for that long-term gratification. Right. I was talking about this with the launch tips, right? But if I've run my mastermind 10 times now, right? And the first few launches, they were okay. They weren't great. I didn't always sell my launches out. But what I would say is like, I was really committed to the long term. And I think what some people do is they commit to like the short term of the launch, right? Like, I'm going to launch this course, and if it sells out, then I'll do it again. But if not, and I was like, whatever, I'm going to keep selling this course until I figure it out, right? And really attaching yourself to that long-term success, right? Being less attached to how that exact launch goes. Like, oh, my launch failed. I think I need to close up my business doors. Oh, I talked about my offer one time and no one bought. Instead, really attach yourself to the long term. In the long term, you're going to figure out launching. You're going to get people to buy your course. You're going to sell out your programs. You may have to tweak it along the way. You may have to change your curriculum. You may have to change how you market it, right? But really believing in your long-term success as an entrepreneur. And I'm going to take it a step further, not just for your current business, but who you are as an entrepreneur. Something that really helps me is knowing, I hope I never have to shut down my business coaching business, because I love what I do behind the scenes. I just love coaching women one-on-one and in groups. But I tell myself, even if something were to happen where I had to shut down this business, I would open another business. I would figure it out. Right? And so how can you attach yourself to you making 6 figures in your business, $1 million in your business, even more so than being attached to it being in your current business or with your current offers, right? This one offer has to sell out or else XYZ. Really being attached to, well, if that launch doesn't go great, I know the next launch is going to go great, right? Really being attached to you as that money-making entrepreneur, you as that powerhouse, and trusting that the right launches are going to sell out. Right? Okay, so good. Repeat, refine. Yes, my loves. So good. Simplicity and stability. Yes, you deserve simplicity and stability. It doesn't have to be chaotic, right? Repeat, repeat, repeat. Vasti says, challenge to find something more fun to do by the end of the month. Yes. Oh, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. That was the homework initially. Let me know in the comments. If you missed the first part, I challenged you. I told you the reason why. So far, I just started this launch. It's been my best launch to date. This early on, I've had 80K in sales. And I noticed that a big part of that is because I've been having a lot of fun during the launch, and I've been able to really detach, and I've been really productive because I get to go do fun things, right? And if you guys are mamas, I know you have to be creative with what fun looks like, but I basically am challenging you to do something fun this month. So let me know what it is in the chat box. What is something that feels really fun? And you deserve that. I think sometimes we feel like, oh, once you notice, I didn't say, oh, I'm going to go to the Harry Styles concert if I meet my launch goal. I was like, forget it. I'm going to go do these fun things, whether I make my launch goal or not. Not that we can have rewards and we can celebrate, but I'm a fan of like just treating yourself well outside of that, right? How do we say, I deserve to go get a massage? I deserve to go on a walk at the park with my girlfriends, no matter how this launch turns out, right? How do we just do it because you want to do it, right? Okay, so good. Beverly says, it's safe for me to have a super profitable, non-stressful business. Yes, it is. Yes, it is that long-term. So grateful for you, ladies. Okay, I got to go. Love you guys so, so much. I truly do. Just grateful for you from the bottom of my heart. And I think that's it. Grateful for you. Let me think. Is there any important announcements? I don't think so. Happy early Thanksgiving. Enrollment for Sell with Heart is still open. So if you want to book a clarity call for January round of Sell with Heart in the new year, feel free to book a clarity call with me now, because I'm taking off time for Thanksgiving, but I would love to chat with you to see if my mentorship is a support for what you're looking for to dive into all of this, but really embrace monetizing more in your business in the new year. Okay. Thank you. I love a good hoop, Beverly. I just love a good earring. Okay. Have a beautiful Tuesday. Bye, my loves.